very grateful to Susie for so many of those words that are way beyond my sense of self. And I'm just so grateful for what has been given. As we all know, none of us privately even exist. We all exist only in relationship. In relationship first to the one who drew us into being, and then the relationship to all the rest that's brought into being. And if something is sparked in us, it's meant for others, just as their sparks are meant for the other side. And I've always felt, I have to be very honest, very, very inadequate. When you face God, how else can you be? In fact, in contemplative tradition, in effect, you kind of mostly disappear into God's being. You recognize that who you are, your most fundamental identity, is not something ego separately sort of read, but I belong to that which is the giver, and we all belong together. And together we form a community out of which I think God can take some pride sometimes, that we together really do accept heaven once in a while in our midst and live into it. And from that, living, create the leaven that the world so desperately needs. Nothing we can take credit for, as we all know. The best moments are moments we don't even remember. Not calculated moments where we've tried to be good, but moments where something's happened. And we all are in amazement and wonder at what's been given. So in that sense, whenever we're dealing with anything spiritually that's at least at a mature level, we're always dealing with a quality of humility that we share together. We're all given something. We're all blessed. And all we can do is respond to that blessing and live into it, and let grow from that what comes, and resist that which seems to draw us off track. Everybody in this room that I know, which is most of you to some extent, someplace, somewhere, we've touched into something that belongs to us both. And you're coming here tonight, I hope you see that you're really finally honoring not me, but you're honoring your own deepest spiritual nature, which at some point perhaps I helped to click off, and for you to realize something that was already there. Something that my own limitations and weaknesses and distortions and neuroses somehow didn't get in the way of. Those moments of heaven when we click together and we find true spiritual community. I hope and trust that that's part of what we've all found in Shalem together. And Shalem has become a name for something that's been given us with a certain coherence and a certain history, and hopefully a future that will continue to be of value in the world. supposed to be saying a little bit about contemplative leadership. I was so thrown off by all these good words from Susie that I had to say those other things first because I'm just so clear. This isn't about me. It's about us and about our responsiveness to that which is beyond us. That gives hope for the world and for our own futures. Contemplative leadership, at its core, I think is simply what emerges when we lean back behind that tempting, conditioned ego level of our being with which we too easily identify as our ultimate self, and also lean back behind the academic mind, behind the thinking mind, which itself is conditioned, which itself works in a kind of plodding, linear way that is very crucial and very gifted. But finally, contemplative awareness comes from leaning back behind both of those dimensions of our selves into what we can label many things. I will label the spiritual heart. That's that place where we become very vulnerable inside and we become open to that which is most real, most true, about ourselves, about reality, and about deep reality from which it's all flowing. It's in that place where there's a kind of blending, a kind of graced blending of our own spirits with this deep spirit that's so difficult to name because it's beyond the naming. I've heard many of you from me many times that wonderful passage in Exodus 3:14 when Moses asks, "Who are you?" to the one who's giving him a mission and acting like he's real, more real than anything else. And he gets a really true answer. I am the one who is, which is the answer that says, my name is beyond anything your mind can ever conceive. And at the same time, I'm the most real reality there is. I'm the nothingness that's everything, the deepest substantial love that is. When we do that kind of leaning back into our spiritual hearts, of course we can't make anything happen there, but just the sheer willingness to be in that place of darkness, if you will, that place before we begin thinking we know something, that place in us where we're in touch directly and inclusively with all that is, at the same time where we know nothing with our conceptual mind. That different way of knowing that's shown us, that's so missing in our educational systems, so missing in our institutions, even in our religious institutions in so many ways, even though it's hinted at and circled and pointed to. And yet, there it is. Always beyond what we can institutionalize, what we can domesticate, what we can define. Thank God it's beyond, because the God we thank is always more than we can limit with our minds or imagine.